In a world where surgical transformations like face reconstruction and liposuction have become the tools of choice for many, especially those with criminal inclinations seeking anonymity from the authorities, we find ourselves immersed in a saga that defies convention. Today we're diving into a fascinating discovery about a cartel leader who went to extreme lengths to deform his own face. El Chapos Trial. Juan Carlos Ramirez Abadia, better known by his captivating alias Chupeta or Lollipop, hailed from the vibrant town of Palmyra, Colombia. He was the enigmatic leader of the notorious North Valley Cartel, one of the most dreaded cartels in the world at that time. A man who was no ordinary figure, he danced on the razor's edge of danger, facing drug smuggling, murder, and RICO charges in the United States. Chupeta's empire stretched far beyond the boundaries of cocaine, venturing into the murky depths of money laundering and heroin trafficking. With a jaw-dropping fortune estimated at $1.8 billion, according to the U.S. Department of State, he was both a moneybag and a mastermind of the criminal underworld, leaving even the top dogs scratching their heads in bewilderment. Adam J. Subin, a high-ranking official, described Chupeta as one of the most powerful and elusive drug traffickers in Colombia, and that is quite a reputation. But wait, the story gets even wilder. August 7, 2007 was the day everything came to a head. Chupeta was nabbed in the swanky confines of Sao Paulo's exclusive Aldea de Serra region, sending shockwaves through the underworld. But if you thought that was the final act, you couldn't be more wrong, as our protagonist's journey was far from over. He was brought to the grand stage, the United States, on August 22, 2008, ready to face his fate, but the plot thickens. Chupeta had an ace up his sleeve. He bravely pleaded guilty to murder and drug charges in 2010, striking a deal that would make even the most shrewd negotiators applaud. His bargain? Becoming a star witness for the U.S. government in exchange for a 25-year sentence. He played the part of a star witness to the last letter. Chupeta took the stand at the 2018 trial of the notorious El Chapo Guzman, spilling secrets that would shake the foundations of the Sinaloa cartel. He claimed the spotlight as the primary cocaine supplier to El Chapo Guzman himself. Picture this, two of the world's most notorious alleged drug lords together in a room, and here's the twist. No colossal narcotics deal on the table. Chupeta provided testimony indicating that his organization utilized Guzman's network to facilitate the transportation of large quantities of Colombian cocaine through Mexico, ultimately reaching the United States. Recounting a meeting held in Mexico during the early 1990s, he described a mutual agreement formed between him and Guzman. According to this agreement, the Colombian cartel would transport their cocaine to Mexico, with Guzman's group handling the smuggling process to distribute the drugs in major U.S. cities. Chupeta expressed his willingness to fulfill Guzman's request for the highest quality cocaine, as he aimed to establish a personal reputation for producing exceptional drugs. He further revealed that Guzman claimed to possess a more efficient method of getting cocaine into the U.S., which led him to demand a larger share of the profits for his services. Imagine the Colombian cartel flying their precious cargo of cocaine to Mexico, and El Chapo's squad executing the stealthy operation of smuggling it deep into major U.S. cities. It's a high-stakes operation, and while Chupeta kept spilling the secrets of the drug business, it was more gripping than a suspense film. The courtroom was electrified with tension as Chupeta faced the chilling question about 150 murders for hire. He unflinchingly admitted to involvement in several bone-chilling cases, sending shivers down spines. Because of the widespread notoriety and influence of the Sinaloa cartel, the question most people had was how it was possible that one man could supply cocaine to an empire as large as Sinaloa cartel, spearheaded by El Chapo. The infamous Sinaloa cartel dated back to the late 1980s, and the United States Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, had their eyes on the Sinaloa cartel for a long time, believing it to be the biggest drug trafficking organization in Mexico. Fast forward to the mid-1990s, and this colossal syndicate was on par with the infamous Medellin cartel at the height of its power. And you know what they say? Bigger is always better. The Sinaloa cartel continued to grow, and before long, it became one of the world's largest criminal enterprises, with tentacles reaching far and wide into the darkest corners of the globe. But there is more to the trade of these drugs. Tunnels. Yes, tunnels. The Sinaloa cartel's ingenious smuggling methods thrived on secret tunnel systems running right beneath the Mexican-U.S. border since 1990. Talk about a mind-blowing way to transport their goods right under the nose of the officials. The use of the tunnels were beneficial to the trade, and under the directives of the notorious Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the Sinaloa cartel earned quite the reputation for using these tunnels, and to this very day, new ones keep popping up. They've got a thing for California and Arizona. The DEA can confirm that. that. Because of the secrecy and the need to remain anonymous, even while carrying out their enterprise, these drug traffickers had to become the masters of disguise. Much of their marijuana was grown, and is still grown illegally in the remote corners of California within the United States, so the need for them to be as anonymous as possible was high, and that was where Chupeta came in. A master of disguises, he helped the cartel's presence spread like wildfire, reaching at least 22 out of the 31 Mexican states. From bustling Mexico City to picturesque Tepic, Toluca, Zacatecas, Guadalajara, and the state of Sinaloa itself, they've got their roots firmly planted in almost every city. And you better believe their operations are as diverse as it gets. From Colombian cocaine to Mexican marijuana, methamphetamine, and fentanyl, they've got their fingers in every illicit pie imaginable. Oh, and let's not forget their Mexican and Southeast Asian heroin endeavors. They were definitely not holding back. Not content with that, they amped up their game, attempting drug trafficking across legal ports of entry border crossings. And here's a jaw-dropper. They're not above using American citizens as mules to carry their precious cargo, hidden in every nook and cranny of passenger vehicles and tractor trailers. Some of these trap cars even have sophisticated designs to hide the stash, only revealing it when specific functions of the vehicle are performed. The cartel's golden triangle of operation, the states of Sinaloa, Durango, and Chihuahua, is a hotbed of opium and marijuana production. Here, black tar heroin has earned the nickname Black Goat. With a penchant for cocaine and opioids, they built quite the empire, taking their trade all the way to distribution hubs like Chicago. Over the years, they were responsible for importing nearly 200 short tons of cocaine and copious amounts of heroin into the United States. And as the opioid epidemic began to grip the nation, they hopped onto the fentanyl bandwagon, leading to the deadliest drug epidemic in U.S. history. From tunnels to secret forest marijuana operations, they've got it all. The cartel's story is far from over, with new chapters unfolding even as we speak. And this quite explains how surprising it was that Chupeta was the one single-handedly supplying cocaine to the world's largest cocaine empire since Escobar's Medellin cartel. Because of his high placement in the ranks 0F the Cali Cartel, he was able to carry on his business of supplying cocaine to the infamous Sinaloa's cartel, and what is even more thrilling about this is that he succeeded in doing with a face that was not even his own. The Cali Cartel. Before the journey down the slope, Chupeta embarked on a riveting journey that saw him serve in the Colombian Navy before diving into the vibrant world of academia at the University of Miami during the 1980s. But then came the twist that led him down the realm of drug trafficking in 1986 under the banner of the Cali Cartel, an enterprise named after its home turf in Cali, Colombia, the very place Chupeta supposedly orchestrated his drug empire. The Cali Cartel didn't just dabble in the world of drug trafficking. They capitalized on revolutionizing it into becoming more than ordinary. They aimed for extraordinary. We are talking about taking and turning cocaine trafficking and production into an art form, shaking up the game like never before. They shifted their refining operations from the familiar territory of Colombia to the daring landscapes of Peru and Bolivia. But that's just the beginning of their escapades. They took risks and charted new routes through the treacherous waters of Panama, redefining the very essence of smuggling. And it gets way crazier. They embraced change and diversified into opium, adding a new layer of complexity to their operation. The cartel was ready to explore new grounds, and soon, an expansion into Europe was cultivated. To achieve that, they formed a unique partnership with tobacco smugglers from Galicia, Spain, creating a criminal alliance that defied imagination, and the Piece de Resistance, a strategic bond with the formidable Camorra criminal organization. The Cali Cartel provided the goods, and the Camorra handled the masterful distribution across Europe. It was a match made in crime, a partnership that sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld. As the mid-1990s rolled around, rumors swirled that Chupeta had been orchestrating the annual smuggling of mind-boggling amounts of cocaine into the heartlands of San Antonio, Texas, and the sun-soaked streets of Los Angeles, California, all via the intricate web of Mexican pathways. Fueling his grand operation were the trusty companions of shipping containers and zippy go-fast boats, weaving their way along the enchanting Pacific coast routes. A mesmerizing finale awaited in the dazzling city lights of New York City, where Chupeta's distribution cells were believed to work their magic. During the mid-1990s, Chupeta, the Maestro of His Trade, donned the mantle of the youngest Don in the Cali Cartel's history. It was widely speculated that he orchestrated the annual smuggling of multiple thousand kilograms of cocaine, like clockwork, an astonishing feat that kept law enforcement and authorities on their toes. His ingenious operation spanned from the vibrant streets of San Antonio, Texas, to the sun-soaked boulevards of Los Angeles, California, a transcontinental trade route that boggled the mind. The heart of his strategy lay in the art of diversion. He navigated the labyrinthine network of routes along the Pacific coast, using the shifting tides and secret inlets to his advantage. His operation resembled an intricate dance, with every move meticulously planned to confound law enforcement and elude the prying eyes of authorities. At the center of his playbook were the very tools that enabled his supremacy: the shipping containers and go-fast boats. These vessels weren't mere instruments, they were the backbone of his enterprise. Picture this: shipping containers, those unassuming giants of global trade transformed into troves of contraband. They stood as sentinels of secrecy, concealing their illicit cargo. Chupeta's masterstroke was his ability to blend the criminal with the legitimate, threading his contraband through the arteries of commerce. Chupeta's operation wasn't a mere operation, it was a symphony of strategy. His choice of conduits was as diverse as it was daring. His reliance on a dual strategy involved an intricate dance between shipping containers and nimble go-fast boats, elements that formed the backbone of his operation's logistics. These vessels embodied speed and agility. These maritime rockets dashed across the waters, their design optimized for swift travel. These innocuous containers concealed the illicit cargo, evading suspicion as they moved within the flow of legitimate commerce. Chupeta's choice of routes was a stroke of genius. He carefully and calculatedly moved along the Pacific coast, which enabled him to evade authorities and maintain his iron grip on the drug trade. The Pacific's vastness provided a cloak of invisibility, a canvas upon which his operations maneuvers were executed with utmost finesse. His annual smuggling of multi-thousand kilograms of cocaine into San Antonio, Texas, and Los Angeles, California, was a carefully choreographed spectacle that relied on a dance between shipping containers and agile go-fast boats. These elements formed the beating heart of his operation, allowing him to navigate the intricate web of Pacific coast routes with ease. Until his apprehension, Chupeta held a prominent position as one of the formidable leaders within the North Valley Cartel. Operating chiefly in the northern regions of Colombia's Valle del Cauca department, particularly the coastal city of Buenaventura, the North Valley Cartel rose to prominence during the 1990s, seizing the opportunity as the Cali and Medellin cartels underwent fragmentation. This ascension positioned it as a dominant force in the illicit drug trade. Spearheaded by the siblings Luis Enrique and Javier Antonio Calecerna, alias Los Comba, the cartel maintained its power until 2008, when Colombian, Venezuelan, and United States DEA authorities joined forces to dismantle it. Allegedly, the genesis of the North Valley Cartel traces back to a pivotal event involving the Rodriguez Orihuela brothers, leaders of the Cali Cartel. They eventually got caught and struck a deal with the Colombian government that mandated their surrender, along with their entire organization, to the national justice system. And what did this strategic move offer them? A taste of leniency, a cap on imprisonment, and the safeguarding of their hefty assets. Sounds like a cartel redefining its destiny, right? This proclamation set the stage for a pivotal gathering where their confidants, loyal subordinates, and budding associates were blindsided by an abrupt decree to cease all illicit operations on the spot. But as tales of transformation often unfold, not everyone fell in line with the sudden call for dissolution. Enter an eclectic group, including the likes of Carlos Alberto Renteria Mantilla, Juan Carlos Ortiz Escobar, Juan Carlos Ramirez Abadia, Diego Leon Montoya Sanchez, and Orlando Henao Montoya. These resolute individuals, refusing to bow to fate, coalesced to give birth to none other than the North Valley Cartel. Diego Montoya, as per his FBI profile, faces U.S. government accusations of actively engaging in the production and distribution of significant cocaine quantities into the United States. Furthermore, it is suggested that his organization relied heavily on violence, enjoying the shelter of both right-wing and left-wing illegal armed groups that the U.S. government designates as terrorist organizations. According to a 2004 U.S. government indictment under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, paints a mind-boggling picture. Between 1990 and 2004, the Norte del Valle cartel took charge of exporting a jaw-dropping 1.2 million pounds. Yes, that's 500 metric tons of cocaine. This vast haul, valued at a staggering $10 billion, embarked on a tumultuous journey from Colombia to Mexico and eventually found its way to the United States, ready for the bustling market of resale. The indictment outlines that the cartel employed brutality and violence as tools to advance their objectives. This extended to the elimination of rivals, individuals failing to pay for cocaine, and those suspected of acting as informants. The cartel's operations were allegedly bolstered by enlisting the services of the United Self-Defense Forces Forces of Colombia, AUC, a right-wing paramilitary group classified internationally as a terrorist entity. Their involvement encompassed safeguarding drug routes, laboratories, members, and associates. Notably, the AUC was identified as one of the 37 foreign terrorist organizations by the U.S. State Department in 2004. But wait, there's more. The North Valley Cartel's leaders allegedly took manipulation to a new level. Their playbook included bribing and manipulating not just Colombian law enforcement, but even legislators. Their mission: to thwart the extradition of Colombian drug kingpins to the United States, effectively dodging international justice. And for the grand finale, the indictment reveals an audacious twist. They allegedly took it upon themselves to conduct covert wiretaps within Colombia, intercepting the communications of rival drug traffickers and, stunningly, law enforcement officials from both Colombia and the United States. But like any epic tale, his chapter took a turn. Chupeta surrendered to Colombian authorities in March 1996, trading his freedom for a 24-year prison sentence. Whispers in the wind suggested he did it out of fear for his own safety and a cunning strategy to secure a more lenient sentence. Yet the saga did not end within the prison walls. It's said that Chupeta's influence endured, his fingers still firmly gripped around the strings of smuggling. His incarceration seemed to be a mere intermission, for in 2002 he made an early exit and rekindled his criminal symphony. The script flipped in 2003 when the U.S. State Department alleged that Chupeta not only expanded his operation, but added a new instrument to his ensemble: smuggling heroin. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Cooperating with the government. While Chupeta carved a notorious reputation as one of the most formidable cocaine traffickers in the country, his empire didn't just stop at cocaine. Whispers hinted at his involvement in heroin trafficking and the murky realm of money laundering. Described as a figure of pure brutality, Chupeta's hands were stained with blood, facing charges for a string of homicides in Colombia. Notorious tales circulated of him orchestrating the cold-blooded execution of fellow traffickers, solidifying his iron grip on the underworld. His influence reached far beyond Colombia, with his operation extending its tentacles to San Antonio and Houston, serving as hubs for money laundering and criminal activity. It was no surprise that as his criminal activities grew, the eyes of the law became more and more focused on him, but even the evil mastermind still had an ace up his sleeves. Chupeta embarked on an intricate journey during the 1990s in Brazil, meticulously dismantling his biometric trail and erasing every information about him from official records. With cunning precision, he wielded his wealth to persuade officials to expunge his fingerprints, images, and personal records from the annals of official documentation. It was a premeditated act of erasure, meticulously designed to shield himself from the prying eyes of law enforcement. But Chupeta's quest for anonymity didn't stop there. With the precision of an artist at work, he ingeniously transformed his own countenance. In his own words, he recollects how he methodically had changes done to my face, an extensive alteration that encompassed reshaping his jawline, sculpting his cheekbones, redefining the contours of his eyes, mouth, and ears, and even subtly reconfiguring his nose. This audacious metamorphosis formed the backbone of his audacious bid to elude the vigilant gaze of law enforcement. His ventures beyond the confines of his compound became a nocturnal ballet, shrouded in secrecy and cloaked in darkness. Limited to nighttime hours, he cautiously ventured out for covert bike rides and concealed surgical appointments, further fortifying his veil of anonymity with an array of clever disguises. Such was the artistry of his surgical enhancements that even the seasoned investigators of the U.S. federal agencies found themselves outwitted. So effective were his physical modifications that the traditional grounds for a warrant, rooted in visual recognition, proved ineffectual. Yet, as history often dictates, even the most intricate facade can crumble. In a twist of irony, Chupeta's extensive alterations could not mute the echoes of his own voice. Voice recognition emerged as the chink in his otherwise impregnable armor, triggering the chain of events that led to a pivotal search culminating in his long-anticipated capture. And soon, the arms of the law caught up with Chupeta. The District of Colorado and the Eastern District of New York were key players in his arrest and indictment, with both seeking justice against him in the mid-1990s. His reign of terror was abruptly halted in Brazil in 2007 when he was apprehended by the Brazilian Federal Police. What followed was a revelation that would send shockwaves through the criminal underworld. Chupeta chose to cooperate with law enforcement. From behind bars, he revealed ledgers, stashes of drug money, and and hidden properties. In an unexpected turn, his testimony became a powerful tool for prosecutors. He provided key information leading to the indictment of notorious figures like Jesus Zambada Garcia, Hector Beltran Leyva, and the infamous El Chapo Guzman. His revelations also exposed the darker side of Colombian paramilitaries, corrupt officials, and ruthless traffickers who silenced witnesses. And in 2022, federal prosecutors acknowledged the value of Ramirez Abadia Chupeta's cooperation, urging the judge to honor the 25-year sentence agreement. However, Chupeta might not stand alone in his endeavors to evade identification through surgical means. Take, for instance, Jose Rodrigo Arechiga Gamboa, more famously known as El Chino Anthrax. Hailing from Mexico, he held the notorious titles of a drug lord, a proficient assassin, and a prominent member of the Sinaloa Cartel, a formidable criminal syndicate rooted in Sinaloa. Crafting a legacy brimming with power and trepidation, El Chino Anthrax, much like Chupeta, undertook the path of facial alteration surgeries, seeking to elude the clutches of law enforcement. Regrettably, his metamorphosis did not yield the desired outcome. A turning point arrived on December 30th, 2013, when El Chino Anthrax was apprehended at Amsterdam Airport Schiphol in the Netherlands. The United States, through Interpol, had requisitioned his arrest on drug trafficking charges. Subsequently, on July 10, 2014, he was extradited to the U.S. In a baffling sequence of events, he vanished from the radar while serving a sentence under house arrest. His absence first noticed on May 9, 2020. His reemergence in Culiacan, Sinaloa on May 15, 2020 took a grim turn as he was discovered deceased alongside his sister and brother-in-law, a tragic conclusion to the saga of El Chino Anthrax. Though it may look as if these surgeries always come out to be very successful, there are some that had met their fatal end through these surgeries. For example, there is the case of Carrillo Fuentes, a Mexican drug lord who crafted a narrative that still echoes through the annals of history to date. He didn't just wrest control of the Juarez cartel, he orchestrated a dramatic coup by eliminating his boss, Rafael Aguilar Guajardo, a true power play that set the stage for a gripping saga. He soared to prominence as El Señor de los Cielos, a moniker earned through his vast fleet of jets, not for leisurely flights, but to ferry his drug cargo across the skies. His financial flair shone as he laundered money via Colombia to fuel this aerial empire. Yet the pressure mounted, and U.S. and Mexican authorities began to close in on him and his activities. And this was when a fascinating twist emerged. The people of Morelos State staged silent marches, rallying against Governor Jorge Carrillo Olea's alleged complacency with drug-linked violence. The narrative took an audacious turn when Carrillo Fuentes faced the heat and opted for surgical metamorphosis. With surgical finesse, he underwent facial reconstruction and abdominal liposuction on July 4, 1997, aiming to vanish into thin air. But destiny had its own script. Amid the operation, Carrillo Fuentes met an unforeseen demise, attributed to complications from medication or a malfunctioning respirator. The Sinaloa cartel found itself in even deeper trouble as more key figures started cooperating with the government. These informants were walking a tightrope between risking severe repercussions and potentially gaining preferential treatment when it came to prison sentences. In a twist of fate, the former director of transportation for the Sinaloa cartel had turned into a government informant against none other than Joaquin El Chapo Guzman himself. Astonishingly, this move helped him escape the jaws of a possible life sentence, dangling a mere one-year prison term for his role in cocaine trafficking. This surprising turn of events was orchestrated by Brooklyn federal judge Brian Cogan, who lauded the informant for his audacious act of providing crucial intel about one of the world's most ferocious drug cartels. Judge Cogan's pronouncement carried a weighty acknowledgement of the informant's contributions and the daring risks he undertook. Moreover, the judge acknowledged that the informant's influential position within the cartel considerably amplified the significance of the information he provided. Tirso Martinez Sanchez, previously known as the Sinaloa cartel's train daddy, saw his sentence slashed to a mere 9 years, further reduced by 6 years due to his time served in both U.S. and Mexican prisons. Remarkably, the U.S. Bureau of Prisons was contemplating the addition of another 2 years credit for Martinez's time in Mexican custody, potentially shaving his remaining sentence down to just a single year. Adding to the intrigue, Judge Cogan authorized federal prosecutors to seize assets totaling $2 million from Martinez, underscoring the stakes involved. The sentencing announcement came on the heels of an emotional plea from Martinez, relayed through a Spanish translator. His words dripped with genuine remorse and underscored his transformation over the years. He detailed his exit from criminal life after becoming a father in 2003, a moment that prompted his reconsideration of his choices. Between 2000 and 2003, Martinez, affectionately known as El Futballista for his soccer passion, had steered the Sinaloa cartel cartel's transportation operations. This role had him orchestrating the movement of cocaine between Mexico and the bustling heart of New York City, reaping substantial financial rewards. During the court proceedings, he revealed the cartel's ingenious use of trains and cooking oil to camouflage their vast cocaine shipments. Notably, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the cartel's infamous leader, shared a peculiar fondness for trains and even maintained a private zoo complete with a miniature locomotive. He was eventually sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years. Martinez claimed to have amassed a staggering $15 to $20 million during his tenure with the cartel. Yet the birth of his daughter in 2003 became a turning point as he grew increasingly was disenchanted with the cartel's savage operations. His lawyer, Peter Quijano, shed light on Martinez's victorious battle against a serious cocaine addiction in 2008, alongside his deliberate distancing from the cartel's clutches. Notably, his fondness for cockfighting remained his sole indulgence, a detail that sparked a lighthearted exchange between his lawyer and Judge Kogan. Despite his transformative journey, Martinez faced charges of importation and distribution, which, per federal guidelines, could have translated into a life sentence. In 2014, he was eventually extradited to Brooklyn to face these charges. In another eyebrow-raising case, Santiago Meza Lopez, known as El Pozolero or the Stew Maker, a fearsome enforcer for the cartel, was set to be released from prison. Lopez had confessed to aiding the Sinaloa cartel in eliminating scores of bodies by dissolving them in vats of acid. Captured in 2009, Lopez's claims of being coerced into this role by the cartel's leaders added another layer of intrigue to this chilling narrative. In the shadowy realm of cartels, Chupeda's shocking act of self-inflicted facial alteration stands as a haunting symbol of power and paranoia. Let it serve as a chilling reminder that in the pursuit of dominance, even one's own reflection can become a canvas of fear. The face he deformed reflects the distorted depths a desperate leader can plummet, etching a cautionary tale impossible to forget. For more videos like this, where we explore crime and the criminal activities of these evil minds, click on the videos on your screen. Stay tuned and see you soon.